Hello everyone, Fanta here with Steven slash SBS.
Hello.
We are discussing the Cart Crew.
So still drinking the same thing as the last part.
Still drinking the same thing.
Cold smoke.
You know what's
Drink
up.
it, buy it.
When
Want
there's
it, wish it, do it.
when's a part 2, it's always the same shit. Before we started, I was drinking Copper State IPA by Huss Brewing Co.
I just had something very similar from that same company.
There's a little bit left. It's still kind of cold if you want to try it.
I do not.
Yeah, I bought it at a gas station.
Nice.
Anyway, we're talking more about Cart Crew stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Flint, Michigan. We're going to be talking about Cart Crew
that
stuff.
that tangent in the last one was
It was quite the tangent.
it was something. Don't get me wrong, it was something. But yeah, so talking about Cart Crew, was there anything that you wanted to know specifically about?
I want to hear about them buttons.
Them buttons? Oh, so, I've told him about this in the past, and so we use this machine. It's really easy to use. There's a fast and a slow option, and you put a cart into like these like wheel wells that just kind of drop it in. And then what you do from there is you add carts either to it or you kind of run it into the other carts, like a line of carts that you have your partner set up, and then you just kind of keep walking with it, right?
And it's like this automated, like,
yeah, you can either
control.
like rev the thing and walk behind it, and have someone steer at the front by grabbing the carts.
It's like that big red thing with the handle.
Oh, I was gonna see if the thumbnail had the guy pulling the carts still.
Oh no, this is the channel for some reason. I don't even know how long's that been there?
So it was on the most recent one. So you see how the guy's grabbing the carts at the front there? He's turning it from the front. And so there's a speed option on the back where you can like rev it like a motorcycle. Or if you're by yourself and more than likely someone else is, just setting them up for you, there's a remote. And that remote has a nice rubber padding to it, like a necklace thing or whatever, like lanyard, so you can have it hanging off your wrist while you're grabbing carts. Pretty convenient. Doesn't really let it break because I've dropped it hundreds of times.
I bet that's what's got the fucking rubber there.
Yeah, exactly. Really smart design on that. But on it, there is a horn option for if someone is going to run into your carts.
It's a really weak horn.
Yeah, it's very weak. Hank.
Yeah.
Hank.
That's more.
Hank.
I don't know what the fuck mine was. I don't know.
So there's the horn option. There's an emergency stop, which stops everything. But if you have a bunch of carts in the front, you have to hold and lean back to stop the carts.
Otherwise, it's just
And that's anytime,
momentum.
Yeah, that's anytime you stop. There's like 20 plus carts, which our max was supposed to be 20, but we did like 40 most of the time. You have to stop.
That looks like more. No.
That's definitely more than 20.
Yeah.
But the max is 20.
Yeah.
So you lean back and actually have to put your weight behind it so that way they all stop. So there's an emergency stop, the horn, and more importantly, the fast and slow buttons. And now you'd think that the fast and slow buttons would just say the word slow, fast. But instead, it was designed for people who work in Cart Crew for a lifelong job. So I get out there on my first day, and it is a fucking turtle and a rabbit on the controller. Slow, fast, turtle, rabbit. In case you don't know how to read,
I love that.
Here's a picture to show you the animal. And your brain probably knows something about how fast a turtle goes. So let's just put that on there. And that always blew my mind. It just felt like I was doing a job meant for a 4-year-old that got stuck at Walmart when they're 40.
Well,
It blew my mind.
it's Cart Crew. I don't know. I have no explanation for why it may have been a turtle and a rabbit.
I don't know, man. That's
some pretty interesting stuff, though.
Yeah, it made you feel dumb just going to work and looking at those buttons. So I try not to look at them very much.
You cover the buttons. You're like, I don't want to look at that. And then some other guys, no idea which one the fast and slow one is because you've covered them.
Oh, it's a turtle. Got it. No, but the only time you'd actually even use the slow option is when you're going up or down a hill and trying to stop, because you wouldn't want to just go straight to a stop. You want to switch from rabbit to turtle, so that way you slow and you ease yourself into the the momentum change.
You have to strategically use rabbit or turtle.
There was a technique to it, actually, not just with the rabbit turtle, but with the turning in general, because there was a lot of tight corners and you had to go up and down rows. And so when you try to go into the garages, I've actually touched on it on the last one, but there was like a wall with a pillar.
Which was, if you look at it, you can tell that people
People definitely hit it.
There are chunks missing out of that pillar.
The foundation has chunks missing out of it, like full bricks. None of them were me. The garage door has been hit multiple times. None of them were me.
How did the garage door get
Because the dumbass forgot to open the garage, and then by the time they realized their mistake, couldn't stop it in time.
Oh.
Because, momentum.
Yeah.
You're realizing, like, too late. But, so there's a specific spot on both sides because, there's like a north and a south. I was trying to think of the orientation of the store.
There's something up there.
No, it was north and south end of the store. Had one garage and another garage.
Okay.
And both of them had a specific spot where when you're coming from the parking lot, you had to start your turn. And so if you're coming north-south, you would look for this one spot that you kind of marked mentally, just rip it to the side and pull as hard as you could. So that way you would barely make this little gap, which admittedly was maybe like 20 feet. But when you have 20 to 40 carts on your machine, it's pretty small because you got like this arch going in. And not only that, but you have to make sure it lands inside the garage after there's other 4 rows of carts. So it was like pretty like precise, and you just kind of had to rip it from either side. It's pretty fun. Like,
so there was some fun
aspect. Oh yeah, Kart Crew was super fun for the most part.
Did you like it more than electronics?
No.
Okay.
Because while it was fun, it was very tiring.
Yeah.
And
got a lot of exercise.
Yeah, like there'd be people like, "Oh, you just have a machine pick it up for you. That's easy." But like I said, you have to stop it with your momentum. You have to kind of like rip into things. You have to lean into things. It wasn't like crazy hard. I know there's plenty of other jobs that are way harder and physically straining. But when you're doing it as a part-time job while you're at college, it was like you come from school and then you would just like spend, 4 to 6 hours is what I usually did for those shifts back then. Just kind of like physically exerting yourself on and off. And by the time you get home, like 10 o'clock, and sometimes I even had up to midnight shifts, you just be exhausted.
Walmart was tiring. I mean, even electronics. I mean, I remember checking my like step counter or whatever, and I walked like 10 miles that day, especially during the holidays.
Oh, God, yeah.
You're like, no wonder why my feet feel like I'm dying.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I walked way more in Walmart than I ever did as a geologist.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't go out and, like, map, like, survey things.
I was probably healthier back then. Not mentally healthier.
But physically, yeah.
But physically healthier.
Yeah, because what I did when I was in electronics, probably because I had worked so long on Kart Crew where I'm walking nonstop, was I would just walk in circles. Like, I would walk through the department, through different aisles, look for things to, like, make, look pretty, zoning.
Yep.
I don't know if you've gone over that on this channel or not, but zoning.
I think so.
It's where you
just
so
fix it.
Here's the label, spin it. Wow, look at that. You've zoned it.
Or, this item's supposed to be right here.
Yep.
You've zoned it.
I would do that nonstop when it was really slow. And, man, I walked a shit ton.
Yeah.
But when I was in Kart Crew, like, it was more, like, physical, like, pulling and straining.
I gained, like, 25 pounds when I joined.
Did you really?
Company, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I was, like, 130. I mean, that's, like, super unhealthy weight for how tall I am. But now I'm, like, 155.
Yeah. Also, when I worked at Walmart, speaking of just health, I did a lot more pickup because I play ultimate frisbee for like the.
Do you still do that?
As often as I can, but I moved to Phoenix, and the group I play with plays in Tucson.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more difficult for me to go to that. So not only did I lose walking around the store, like zoning and helping customers here and there and just walking in the parking lot. But I also kind of lost like running around and playing Ultimate for the most part. So I've gotten way more unhealthy now than I ever have been.
I need to do the usual resolution where I stop being a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, run some sprints, idiot.
I don't know. We have a gym at work. There's no fucking reason for me to not do it.
You have a gym at work?
I have a gym at work.
Damn.
We used to do pull-ups. We used to like pull-up challenges. We'd have like a whole schedule every single day. We'd be doing pull-ups.
What happened to that?
The guy that was whipping us up into shape left. So like I was kind of like the guy that was trying to keep everyone together, but the motivation. I'm not as motivational as that guy was. I mean, he was like.
He's Mr. Fitness and you're not.
He was the fitness fascist. I mean, he was like.
The fitness fascist.
He made sure our pull-ups were perfect form. He made sure we were doing it all correctly. He made sure that we did it, and it worked. It was great. I mean, I got. Like, my arms got a lot bigger. They've gotten a lot smaller now because I've stopped doing it. But now I'm going to try to start it up again next year. It's just so difficult. Like, now with, like, YouTube and working full-time and all that kind of stuff and still trying to, like, have some free time available, it's so difficult to, like, just exercise. It's such a fucking pain. It's such, like, an annoyance. It's so annoying. Damn it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to, because there's a park right outside my house. I've been wanting to do sprints and kind of run every night.
After you get off of work, you're like, I don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah, especially because half the time I'm out of town. Like, I spend a lot of time out of town in different hotels.
It's almost tiring just not being home.
Oh, yeah. Because
it's so weird.
Sleeping in a new place is so hard. Like, the first time I even spent the night at my girlfriend's house, I couldn't sleep. Because it was a new place.
I can sleep, I just don't feel as rested.
Right. I've gotten better about it over the years. But yeah, I'll wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and be like...
I had to get used to it.
Like, force myself back to sleep, and it's like...
I had to get used to it when I was doing trade shows. Because I was constantly traveling. I was constantly in hotels.
Yeah.
And you really have to get used to it. But, a little side note.
Yeah,
anyway.
A little side note, a little tangent.
A little tangent.
Not as big as last time.
No. We're not talking about Flint, Michigan. So, you talking about melting shoes.
Yeah, hit me with those cart crew questions.
You talked about the wet socks and how awful that is.
Yeah. I talked about the fast, slow button.
Where did you stand when it was raining outside? Because it's not like that little corner is going to provide much shade, did it? Or were you, like, near where my GameStop was?
So, the shade that it provided were from straight beams, so it didn't actually have an awning covering it. So... most of the time we found an area that was, so there was like the 2 pillars, right? Garage here, pillar, and then past this one right here, there was a little rock island, planter. They call them planters.
Mm-hmm.
And past that, a little bit like further into where the stores are, there was an awning that was covered over where GameStop was.
You just hung out.
So we went underneath there and hung out near where GameStop was.
You just changed corners.
Exactly. Because fuck hanging out in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
That shit sucks.
I've noticed a lot of Walmarts these days. This Walmart still doesn't, but they have like a covered area for employees.
Which is nice.
This one didn't ever.
No.
Still doesn't.
Because they don't need to.
It's just they just use the awning.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just use that like other part of leased out building property
that nobody has.
Yeah, that no one will ever buy.
All those businesses are gone. I'm trying to think of a single business that's still there.
Because you know the company, like the marketplace there, they raised the lease.
You're making me blank out so many different places.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. What else did I say? Oh no. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say.
I don't want people like triangulating where I live. They're like, oh, okay, well you did this, you still live near there. Okay, well
this is organic, man. It's coming from here. It's coming from the heart. So fuck you and your editing. Fanta, when you're editing this, fuck you. Why?
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor future me.
Yeah, so...
Anyway.
Yeah, we didn't really have an awning that like was dedicated for ours. It was just kind of a part of the property, and that property, that marketplace property, they raised their lease, and so a lot of different places just said nope.
Yeah, I don't get
and
that.
they left.
Why wouldn't you just take the money you're getting?
I don't know, but I mean, probably because they knew they had Walmart on the
That's
hook.
why my GameStop shut down. That's why that other place shut down. That's why that other place shut down. That other
I would
place
name
shut
them,
down.
but I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to.
But yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. So you just use the awning to get covering from the rain. Was it when it was pouring, did they expect you to go out and get the carts?
Yeah, they give you ponchos.
What do you mean?
They give you a poncho.
Oh, like those, like just like the plastic
water, yeah.
thing?
And they'd be like, you can do it. And it's like, I'm not going out there. I had to have like a few like pseudo arguments. They weren't really like arguments because usually I'm just like, I'm not doing it.
So you just wait till it...
Yeah, and they just suggest to give you a poncho. I was like, this other person doesn't. I'm like, well, I'm not that other person.
Well, that person's an idiot.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. So I did go out there in the rain, but when it was like heavy rain, I was like, no.
Yeah, I remember looking outside when I was working at GameStop, like, fuck that. Like, people would come in soaked. The thing about rain is, like, the weirdest thing. I don't think we even talked about this about GameStop, but I'm going to insert a little bit of this side tangent about GameStop. Whenever it was pouring, you're like, oh, fuck, well, thank God. No one's going to come in here. We can just have a random conversation.
It funnels everyone in.
It funnels everyone in. It's like if there was anybody that was even thinking about going in, they get funneled in. And not only are they funneled in, they don't leave. Because they don't want to go back into the rain, so they wait till it's over.
And it's, as a consumer, one thing that I notice is, like, if I'm trying to kill time at a store, like, you know, maybe waiting to meet up with someone, I'll go to one store, and if there's somewhere that's similar nearby, I'll kind of go over there too. Like if there's a Walmart and a Best Buy nearby, I'll probably just go to both.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that had something to do with that when it was raining. Because like, well, it's pouring rain. I'm bored at Walmart. Let's go over to the GameStop and kill some time. Oh shit, it's still pouring. Well, I guess I'm not leaving.
That's exactly what happened. That's what people did, yeah.
And the shitty thing was, like, not when it was pouring and I had to make the decision to go out or not, but when it would start raining while you were halfway done with your rotation, like halfway done with the lot, because you'd usually go first half, second half, and you'd start with the same middle one because that middle one usually got filled up the most, and so it's like you can't just stop in the middle.
But there were two garages, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't you just do half and then be like...
No, because then the other half of the parking lot looks like shit, and you hear about it. So you just kind of like try to run through it. I know there was some times where you'd be working at the GameStop, and I'd be at the Walmart over there, and come to the GameStop lot and clear up those stuff while it was raining. Be like, hello. I don't know how much time we have left in this video, but...
Enough.
There was one time where I was on my break in the GameStop, and I turned off my radio because I'm on break. I think you remember this. Because at some point I was in there playing the Smash 3DS demo, and talking to you, and I look out there at some point, and 3 of my managers are in the window, and I hear them say over the radio because I just turned it down. I didn't turn it off, I guess, but I heard them say, "Oh, he's in the GameStop. We found him," and so they were looking for me, and I still don't know. Because, when I go out there, they seem kind of mad, but I was on my break, and that's the last I heard of it. Yeah.
Maybe did you tell them they're on break? You should probably stop doing that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, YouTube. So I never really tell them that you go on break. You never say...
Because you're in cart crew.
I'm going on my 15.
Why would you tell somebody?
Exactly.
Why are they looking for you? You don't know it at all?
I remember
Did you ask, why are you here?
I don't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with either a carryout or just they wanted something cleaned up in the parking lot. But if you were the only person on break, or if you're the only person and you went on break, there was no one else.
Yeah, you were gonna talk about how lunches weren't covered.
Oh yeah, so there was 4 cart crew guys over the course of a single day. 4 if you're lucky. Sometimes there was 3, depending on how they scheduled things, or if someone called in, which, I mean, it's Walmart, so people do a lot.
And
so they would schedule me for 4 to 6 hours as my general one, and if I was working weekends, it would be about 8 hours. because like weekend, just give me those hours. But so they would overlap these shifts to cover lunch breaks, etc., etc. But sometimes that didn't happen. And so there was plenty of times where it'd be like a Saturday, which is our busiest day. And it's like early afternoon, and either the guy calls in, or they just didn't schedule anyone till the end of your shift, so they only scheduled 2 people, which shouldn't happen, but did sometimes. Like
It's
very
like GameStop,
rarely.
yeah.
But like, they just did it so it's like the person starts as soon as you end. So when they get in, you clock out. And it's like, that's a horrible idea.
That's what GameStop
Who's going to cover my break?
Yeah.
And so I would take my 15-minute break. Like I said, we usually have, in the part 1, I said we usually have like 20 minutes of downtime on a busy day.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to go back out there as soon as you finish it, because you want to let it build up a little bit. Otherwise, it's just you're wasting your time. But on the hour lunch break, though, especially on a Saturday, when you had to take your break before 6 hours into your shift and there's no one to cover you, you go on the radio and say, hey, I'm going on my break. It's 5.5 hours in. I need to do this. Can someone cover for me? And most of the time they say no. And so you come back an hour later because they forced you to take a full hour.
Yeah.
Which I always hated because I finished my food within 15 minutes, and like the minimum, like I think you were able to do a 30-minute legally, but they would still make you do the hour because it fits with their timesheets better. Which, understandable, whatever.
Yeah, their time sheets were the most inflexible things ever.
And it's just something you had to work around. But because of that, at Cart Crew, you had an hour where you're sitting there on your lunch break thinking about how fucked the parking lot's going to be when you get off of your break. And sometimes I go out there, maybe go to the GameStop if you're working, and just kind of look out and be like, oh no.
You're like, this is going to suck.
And you come back and you as soon as you pick up your radio and turn it on, they're talking about garden needs carts. This place needs carts. This place needs carts. The parking lot is awful. Why is it like this? And you start getting earphones like, I was on lunch. I don't know what to tell you. I was on lunch.
Yeah, so I was on lunch.
I warned you.
You should have scheduled more people.
I told you this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was still within my first year, my first job ever, so it was just like, shit. And so then you just rush. And it's just a nightmare because it's something that normally takes about an hour to clear the whole thing, turns into double that time. And especially if you're alone. Because I noticed that if you had a second person with you, instead of cutting your time in half, it was usually cutting your time in a quarter. Like 3 quarters, sorry. So like it took like a quarter of the time to do it if you had 2 people. Which is pretty cool because you think about it and it's like, okay, well 2 people half the time.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you're moving the carts and normally you have to stop, go to a spot where they have like the cart collectors, and sometimes they have the erroneous carts hanging out all over the place.
Yeah.
Throw it on yourself. Stop, do it again. Go down the next row, stop, do it again, stop, do it. There's usually like 2 per row. So you go up and down and then into the garage. But if you had someone with you, while you're making that trip to the garage, they go to the next spots and line them up for you. And so instead of having to stop yourself and organize it, by the time you get there, they've already set up the next line. And so you don't stop, you're just gonna go
So you just
right in there and you don't stop. And then you just like run up to the front while holding onto the rabbit button. And then you grab onto the front and then you move to the end of the thing. Hit the next ones, run up to the front, holding the rabbit button.
We've come full circle.
Yep.
We're back to the rabbit button.
And by the time you get back to the bottom, those guys are now working on the next row while you put in the thing in the garage. Super cool.
Yeah.
2 people was dope.
That's how it should be.
Like, you asked if I liked Cart Crew better than electronics. If I always had 2 people, like a second person with me, especially while the other person was a cool person to work with, because there was a couple people when I first started that were really awesome to work with, then yes, would have been way better. But most of the time we were just by ourselves.
Yeah. I feel like that would get really lonely too. It would just kind of like make the time drag because Just kind of thinking about. I mean, you can listen to music, which a lot of people did.
Yeah, listen to one
But-
ear because you're not allowed to have it in two for obvious reasons because of like traffic and shit.
Yeah, so you don't get hit by a car. But
I did homework sometimes.
did you really?
Yeah, if it was late at night, like I told you
Would you have a
earlier.
flashlight?
I just went into my car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That makes
And-
sense.
it's like 11 o'clock at night, and you're working till midnight.
I remember
I'd
that.
have
Yeah, I was
really-
gonna ask, like, how late does Cart Crew go?
Usually 10 o'clock, but a lot of times it happened to 11 as well. And then on a very rare occasion went to midnight. And those midnight shifts, especially 11 o'clock.
I think I remember hanging out with you, like, in your car while you're, like, doing homework, while you're, like, on break or whatever.
Yeah, because
I was like, this is
after
insane.
9 o'clock, it was dead.
Yeah.
After 10 o'clock, you didn't have more than 10 carts in the whole parking lot up all the way till midnight. So it's like, you just kind of hang out, do whatever you need to do. A lot of times, if I didn't have homework, I would go inside and help the customer service people, like, organize their go-backs is what they called them.
Fuck, go backs.
Yeah. So I'd help them organize that if I had nothing to do.
This is the
Because
worst.
I hated doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I would
that's
either
the
do
worst.
homework-
That's the worst part of Walmart was doing nothing.
Yeah. And so I would either do that or do homework. And it's like, till midnight, why am I even here? Why did
Yeah.
they schedule someone this late?
That was the same with electronics. Why the fuck am I here till midnight?
Yeah, because they did that a couple times at electronics too, which made no sense because electronics closed at 10.
They did it. They did it a couple times. They did it twice to me. One time I stayed till midnight, and the other time Eric just told me not to do it, so I didn't.
I love Eric.
Eric's like, well, just don't do it. And I'm like, but they have me scheduled till then. Well, maybe it's a mistake, but it's on the thing. Nah, just don't do it. And I'm like, okay.
Amazing. Did you ask anyone? Or did you just clock out early?
I just clocked out.
And they didn't talk to you ever?
No, they're like, well, you're supposed to be here till then. I'm like, oh, I thought it was an error. Like, well, you did this other time. I'm like, well, I just went with the error, I guess. Eric told me not to do it. I'm like, well, don't listen to him.
You threw him under the bus?
I didn't really throw him on the bus. I was like, well, I talked to other coworkers, and they said, just don't do it. They said it's probably an error. I mean, they close at 10.
Yeah.
Why would you be there that late? I was like, well, that's true. So I thought it was an error.
It makes sense.
That makes sense. They're like,
All's
well,
right in the world.
It's like, well, just don't do that. And I'm like, well, don't schedule me that late.
There's no reason.
So, like, whenever they tried to schedule me that late again, I'm like, I don't want to work this late. I'd, like, come up to them, like, I think there's something wrong with my hour sheet. Like, no, you're supposed to be this late. I'm like,
Why?
well, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that.
It
That makes no sense. I mean, all the people that come out after 10 when electronics closes, all of the people come out that are supposed to be doing stocking. I am not an overnight person. Why am I still there with all the overnight people helping them? That's their job.
Yeah.
I'm not overnight. Don't give me the overnight
Because
shift.
they would drop pallets down
Yeah.
and expect us to, like, put them out for them.
I did a lot.
I did too.
I used to think that I was supposed to do all of it before they showed up.
Oh, I never thought that, but I was so bored
Yeah,
that I
was
would open the boxes and be like, I know where these go.
Yeah.
And I put away the ones that I knew where they went.
For the longest time, I thought I was supposed to finish it before I left, and I felt really bad when I didn't get to finish it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
A lot of the time
Honey.
I finished it.
Honey.
That's what Eric said too. He's like, "Oh no, what did you do?" Well, I made the overnight shift a
You
lot
probably
easier.
made our work more. Like, you probably made it worse for us because they expected it.
I don't think they ever expected it. I think I was just an idiot.
I hate you.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I love you.
Well, anyway, thank you for
Yeah.
watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 and 2 of the Cart Crew. Are there more things to talk about with the Cart Crew, do you think?
I'm sure we'll have more in the future.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll just leave it as a part 1, part 2, and talk later.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, there's been a year of me doing this stuff. There's no way all of it's going to come up at once. Like, there's stuff that I vaguely remember of people backing into our machine and shit like that. Like, little things here and there.
Yeah.
They just kind of compound that I can't remember all at once. But
That's what's happened to me a lot during this series is it just slowly comes back to me.
yeah, the
all the
more I
different
talk,
things.
the more I remember stuff. Like, I forgot
Right.
all about that chicken stuff until I started talking. I was like, man, I say I never forget it, but I guess I kind of did.
People are
But now I'm back to it. Now I remember, and it's like I can almost smell it. Ugh.
ugh.
Yeah. Horrifying. But yeah, so come back And if it's not Kart Crew next time I'm on here, it'll be something else.
Yep.
Because I did other stuff. I did things.
Steven is a fresh perspective to Walmart.
And I hope you enjoy what I have to bring to the table. I know I'm not Eric. He's way sexier than I am. I know. He's eye candy. Whatever.
There's like a battle between you and Eric in the comments. People
Oh.
are voting for you. People are Team Eric. People
Oh, no.
are Team Steven.
I just want people to understand.
I don't have a team.
Oh, I'm Team Eric.
You're
I'd rather be with him than be with me.
Well, you know. Anyway,
thank you everyone.
thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like the video if you guys liked it. Comment down below if you've ever worked in Kart Crew or have some crazy story about carts in the parking lot. I'm sure you've seen them, like I said. Upside down. Maybe some have blocked your car. I don't know.
Let us know your pet peeves.
Pet peeves about
Carts.
carts.
Cart
related.
pet peeves.
We want cart related comments.
Cart comments.
Cart comments.
Alliteration.
There you go. I
Do it.
love alliteration. It's my favorite thing.
It's pretty good. I'm out of beer, so we should end this.
We're gonna end this. Drink more. Have a fantastic day.
And praise the plant.
Praise the plant. If you know what that is, you should watch more streams.